Good morning, everybody. I'm Gail Davies-Walsh. I'm CEO of Afonydd, Cymru, which is the umbrella body for rivers trusts in Wales. And we have 6 rivers trusts, and they cover the full number of rivers across Wales. And they work very hard and daily, actually, on delivering some of the nature-based solutions that we've been talking about this morning. It's always interesting being the third speaker in the line, so I thank my previous 2 panellists. And we will see how this goes. So as Sian said, there's many different types of nature-based solutions, and many of those types of nature-based solutions, let's be honest, we've had years of practice of doing them, and many organisations in this room, NGOs, farmers, government, NRW, we've been delivering them for a long time. We have to be honest, the success of how well a nature-based solution performs varies. Okay, it varies geographically, and by that I don't mean that one of my trusts delivers better than the other. I mean that nature-based solutions have to be very carefully thought through and designed to the geographical location that they're being delivered in and to what they are trying to achieve. Some of them are very easy to deliver, and some of them need a lot more thinking and a lot more design. And you know, lots of us are out there doing these sorts of things, but we do need to bear that in mind. With all of this great stuff that you've heard in the first 2 panellists in terms of the benefit of nature-based solutions, we have to ask ourselves then why we're not delivering at the pace of nature-based solutions delivery that we need to. And I thought it would be useful perhaps to cover some of that this morning. So yesterday we had a lot of discussion around data and evidence of water quality on rivers, and that element around data and evidence directly drills down onto nature-based solutions. Some of them work brilliantly. We have lots of data for them, we've been delivering them for years, we know what we're doing, we can roll them out very simply. Some of them, however, we're just not actually there on all of the thinking that we need behind those. And why is that the case? Well, history allowed us to deliver lots of these things, but actually it didn't ask us to do very much monitoring and assessment on them, on how effective they are and what the benefit is. And therefore, how we measure the outcome of nature-based solutions is almost a little bit difficult at the moment. And so Christian is absolutely right. We do need some more research into some of these areas. When I say that, that is because we're moving at the moment into a place where we're not just delivering nature-based solutions to do good and to make benefit. We are moving to where we are trying to deliver nature-based solutions against an action plan and a programme. And many people in this room challenge us every day in terms of how we are going to measure the outcome of the benefit of the things that we are trying to deliver. And that is where we struggle, because actually, can we physically put a fixed number of benefit reduction on every nature-based solution that we deliver? No, we can't. Okay, that is simply the truth. We can do it on some of them, but we can't exactly do it on all of them because it is not an exact science, because we are delivering with nature. So what else can we do? Well, we try to use models to predict and look at how the effectiveness of some of those nature-based solutions would work. But equally, models have ended up being challenged. They're challenged because models are only as good as the data and the input and the evidence that is put into them. So everybody in this room needs to bear in mind that models really, they're only as good as the data that has gone into them. And we are stretching models all the time. Models that were designed to do one thing are being stretched in their use to be applied to other things. Is that wrong? No, it's not. But we have to bring it along with caveats, and we have to understand what we're using them for and understand where it's right to use them and where it isn't. Sian has just sort of covered lots of areas of sort of NRW policy. What I will say is the Welsh Government has got some world-leading legislation around nature-based solutions. The principles around sustainable management of natural resources are enshrined in Welsh legislation. It's down to the fact that planning guidance was rewritten last year to require organisations within Wales to think whether they could deliver nature-based solutions before any other type of delivery solution in Wales. And yet we simply still aren't getting there. And part of that is because despite legislation and despite policy, we're still not translating that down to the ground that we need to in order to be able to deliver them and take them forward. If we want to use nature-based solutions, we are going to have to accept that the benefit of from nature-based solutions will take longer to deliver. We have to accept that we work in a regulatory platform that requires control, targets, numbers, exact delivery dates, and nature-based solutions don't drop automatically and fit into the model that we regulate under. So, the permitting regime does not accommodate what we want to try and deliver. And we need to start looking at how we move that forward if we're going to deliver at the pace of nature-based solutions that we want to. I'd like to give a few examples today. The first is this. The Why and Us Foundation, which I was working with at the time 3 years ago, designed the first nutrient neutrality wetland in the UK. It was a wetland designed to unlock the housing crisis that had been put into place from preventing building on failing SAC rivers, of which we now also have 5 in Wales. That wetland has been delivered and is currently successfully operating. It unlocked around 2,000 houses so far. It allowed growth in the Herefordshire County Council area, and most importantly, it also delivered betterment to the River Lug, because an element of the benefit of the nature-based solution that was delivered was saved to improve the river itself, as well as to make the developments nutrient neutral. There are 4 more of those wetlands designed for Herefordshire Council. 2 of those are in planning at the moment. And that wetland is currently drawing data in, but the evidence from that data is showing that that wetland is successfully neutralising the treatment effluent that has gone into it. We cannot deliver that type of nature-based solution in Wales currently, because the NRW wetland policy prevents us from doing it. I totally understand the reasons why, Sian, I'm not picking. However, what I'm trying to demonstrate here is we have to try and move away from some of the barriers that are existing, because Wales has an enormous opportunity to take some of this forward, and it is not. Another example is that we have leading legislation in Wales for sustainable urban drainage SUDs. For those of you that don't know, Wales has legislation that is well above anything that exists in England at the minute on the Flood and Water Management Act, and that made it compulsory in Wales for SUDs to be implemented on new housing. It's a fantastic piece of legislation, and it is delivering lots in the housing sector, but there is enormous opportunity to do more on that and deliver SUDs in different ways, and we really need some of that to move forward. So I like to finish really with 3 things, which is a little bit linked to some of the summary from yesterday as well. The first, and these are really, if we want to try and drive this forward, these are the things we need to think about. The first is this: we have a history of funding things at project level, okay, and they are linked to very short-term delivery timescales, and that is really difficult for the ENGOs in this room to help support the organisations in here to fix our rivers, because the short-term funding mechanisms means we can't pull together the sort of data and the evidence on some of the nature-based solution schemes that we need to, and they take a longer time to deliver. The second is we have to work collaboratively at catchment level, because where we have had great success with nature-based solutions, we're still delivering them in pockets on tributaries within catchments, and we need to make sure we're prioritising delivery so we're delivering it in the right place for the whole of the river catchment. And my third request is, and I plead to Welsh Government and NRW, is it is time that we need to be brave. We have exceptional legislation and policy in Wales, and we now need to be able to drive that down to delivery. Thank you.